Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. An update from the Ukraine war. But let's set the premises first. A crime is a crime, regardless who does it. That is, striking civilians or attacking cities and obviously attacking civilian infrastructure like apartment buildings with drones or with missiles, regardless of the means, is still a crime, is it? Regardless if the Americans are doing it, the French are doing it, or the Russians, or the Ukrainians. I'm assuming that you're familiar with the Russian Iskander missile attack on Sumy, the city of Sumy, a few days ago, 2 days ago or so. And, the claims that they were over there civilian casualties, and the Russians claim it was something else. Okay. Well, I have here articles showing you the Ukrainians doing the same thing to the Russians. Then we're going to discuss some troops that advance, which is the Russians in Donetsk and Kursk. The Ukrainians claim that they destroyed some convoy, a Russian convoy, about 60% of the Russian armor destroyed, and the number is 25. So these are the claims coming from the Ukrainians. All right, so then we're going to talk about the dynamics, the macro dynamics, not the micro in the little fronts, the entirety. So let's start with the article from Ukrainska Pravda. This is from Tuesday, 15th of April 2025. Russia claims drones attacked their Kursk Oblast. Over 100 UAVs supposedly downed. So they say, this is Ukrainians obviously, saying that the Russians claims, which needs to be verified, right, that drones, Ukrainian drones, attacked Kursk Oblast. Over 100 UAVs supposedly, so again, is what the Russians claim, downed. And this is an apartment building here, okay? Explosions were heard overnight, and a fire broke out in the residential building in the city of Kursk, in Russia's Kursk Oblast. The Russian Defense Ministry has claimed that a large-scale drone attack had been carried out on the oblast. So let's look over the map and see where that is located, shall we? This is Ukraine here. This is where they are fighting. Actively, Sumy is right here. Across from Sumy, that is Kursk Oblast. So in this oblast, things occurred. Kursk, this is the village, the city. So the Russians attacked Sumy, which is right here. These guys attack Kursk. Let's see what else we find out. According to the Astra, residents of Kursk reported many explosions at around 2:30 a.m. Photos and videos of the fire in a high-rise building allegedly after a drone strike were also posted online. The local authorities claim that one person has been killed and 9 injured. All right, it is worth noting that Ukraine has repeatedly stated that its targets in Russia are limited to military facilities, military factories, and fuel and lubricant storage sites that supply the Russian army. It is also known that a drone may deviate from its route, for example, due to electronic warfare operating. So you understand? This is avoiding responsibility. So no, we don't hit civilian targets. It is the Russian electronic warfare operating, maybe creating this problem with the drone deviating. Okay. Possible? Yes. Probable? I have no idea. But I don't like this kind of explanations. It's an explanation, but later the Russian Defense Ministry claimed that 109 Ukrainian UAVs have been downed over Kursk Oblast. In addition, 3 drones were reportedly down over Donetsk Oblast and each over Moscow, Bryansk, and Oriol Oblast. So Donetsk, Bryansk, Oriol. All right, so we have right there, first Moscow is right here, right? Then you got Donetsk. Donetsk is right here. Right? Then you have the Oblast of Bryansk. And then they said, what was the other one? Kursk, we already got here. I think it was another one that I didn't mention. Oriol. Yeah, Oriol is next, is between Kursk and Bryansk, which is right here. Bryansk, Kursk. and then Moscow here, and then Moscow Mule, and then you got the Voronezh. Okay, so this is what these guys claim. Next article comes from the Russians. 15th of April. Ukrainian drones targeting Kursk civilians designated for maximum casualties. So the other guy says, no, your electronic warfare deviated our beautiful drones that were intended for military operations, therefore it's your fault. So this is the picture of this. The munitions used in the lethal strike were packed with metal fragments, authorities have said. Ukrainian kamikaze drones, plural, that targeted Russian civilians in Kursk were loaded with ball bearing to maximum damage to human life. Now these guys tell the other side, okay? Now it's up to you, my friends. So it says here that the strike on residential buildings earlier on Tuesday morning killed an elderly woman and injured 9 people, 6 of whom had been rushed to the hospital. The Russian Investigative Committee, which described the massive attack as terrorism, said Ukraine one-way drones were designated to cause the maximum damage. Let's see. If vehicles, this is what they show, this is the one that's packed. Supposedly, whatever they say, this is a video I'm not going to play. But the Russian Defense Ministry reported the interception of 115 Ukrainian fixed-wing drones overnight, including 109 over Kursk region. And the other ones, remember where. Last week, Kiev accused the Russian military of targeting civilians in the city of Sumy. Moscow has rejected the claim, saying the missiles attack was aimed at a high-profile military gathering and that Kiev used city residents as human shields. So now it's their turn to say their side. I made a video earlier today where the Russians provide evidence. Why? Because the Ukrainians provide evidence that a colonel Yuri blah 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 was killed in that attack, missile attack in Sumy. So the Russians are partly true so far, let's put it this way. Next one comes from the Ukrainians, Ukrinform. Russia reports massive drone attack in Kursk region. So this is the same thing and the same building. Now, was that a Russian drone? Was that a Ukrainian drone? I have no idea. I just report here. Next one. This is from the New Voice of Ukraine. Russian forces advance in Donetsk and Kursk Oblast, DeepState. So where is that located? So in Kursk is right here and Donetsk is right here. Let me show you the Kursk region. If you remember, NATO used the Ukrainians again to invade the Russian part right here. This was how much was the invasion, and this is how much is left. And the Russians are coming this way. So they are pushing them back, but hey, people are still hurt over there, unfortunately. Let's go to the Donetsk. The Donetsk is the Donetsk. Donetsk is where you have the Pokrovsk front. Remember Pokrovsk is right here. Pokrovsk is here, and you got in this area where they also probably going to discuss about this front. But hey, let's see what they actually say. Where are you, baby doll? Right here. So the Russians advance, according to these guys. The Russian troops advance near the village of Guyevo in Russia's Kursk Oblast, as well as near Rozdolnya in Ukraine's Donetsk Oblast. And they show you the map here. This is where the 2 packs, this is Guyevo, I'm assuming, but let's go and see it in Kursk, which is not in Belgorod, in Kursk. Guyevo is somewhere in right here. This is where the Russians advance and push them in the flanks, seems, and the other one is in Donetsk Oblast. Now, let's see what the Ukrainians claim they did. And this is again April 15th. Over 60% of Russian armor destroyed in failed Donetsk push. And I have a video I'm not going to play because of YouTube. Maybe some other time. Russian troops are continuing their attempts to push through Ukrainian defensive lines in the southern Donetsk sector. So where's southern Donetsk sector? Okay, we're gonna go to Donetsk sector. That's by Zaporozhye Oblast, and here is the border. So this is, I don't like this map, but I have to work with it. Right here, Zaporozhye here, Donetsk in this area. This is where they meet right here, the border between Donetsk, Dnipropetrovsk, and Zaporozhye. So they are saying the Velika Novosilka, this is where the Russians push in the south. Here is Pokrovsk. The big scheme of things is right in here, in the almost center of the whole thing. Where are you? Right here. But Ukrainian commanders say the enemy efforts are being crushed with heavy losses. Russia's most recent assault near the village of Vesele and Skutnia involved 5 tanks, 14 infantry fighting vehicles, and 6 armored personnel carriers. Their columns were moving with troops on board, but they were spotted by aerial reconnaissance before they reached our positions. As a result of direct fire and drone strikes, over 100 enemy troops were killed and 4 tanks, 9 IFVs and 3 APCs were destroyed. That's what they say, and they say around 25 vehicles. It says also from the Vuhledar tactical group. Where's Vuhledar? In the south over there. I'm going to show you again. They're talking about the same area. So Vuhledar is, let me show you, is right here. This is Vuhledar. So they are talking about this area in here where the Russians push towards the border of Dnipropetrovsk. Here is Vuhledar right here. So they're talking about this area, the southern. And we have Ukrainian forces destroy 25 armored vehicles near Donetsk, and that is the same as this one. Ukrainian forces retake village in Donetsk Oblast, push back Russian attack near Vuhledar. So the Russians, as I said, attacked in Vuhledar area, so in here, this area, and the Ukrainians claim they destroyed them right there. So a large number of Russian armored formation, around 25 vehicles, took part in the April 14 assault on the southern Donetsk sector. Ukrainian forces were able to destroy between 60% to 70% of the vehicles. All right, so, and then we get to this one. Ukrainian forces retake village in Donetsk Oblast, push back Russian attack near Vuhledar. We got that covered. And Ukrainian forces destroyed 25 Russian armored vehicles near Donetsk. So again, this is by Vuhledar. They try to, this is Donetsk right here. So this is Donetsk, this is Vuhledar. So they're talking about this front south of, right here, Pokrovsk. Pokrovsk is already, I would say, gone. Where are you? Right here. Pokrovsk. The Russians are going to go around Pokrovsk and they're gonna cut the supply line. Once they start bombarding this, they're done. These guys in Pokrovsk. So my friends, this is a short update on Ukraine. Remember, a crime is a crime, regardless if it's your uncle or my uncle. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.